really enjoyed the marketing aspect.
Yeah, right?
Right?
Well, you always did.
Yeah, I mean, I've always feel like that sort of marketing aspect is just like fun to work on.
Yeah.
And that's like, my brain just works with these crazy ideas. And I don't know, I enjoy it. Like, I think of commercials and I think of ads and I think of what's kind of going to connect with people.
Yeah.
I think my first one was we had these like cute twins and we did this like sort of,
I remember that one.
right? Yeah. So that one was, I don't know, I just, I feel as if even if I'm doing that stuff, it's just work to me, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily, a real estate day for me doesn't necessarily mean selling a house or writing a
Right.
contract or connecting with a
Right.
client. To me, like, some days doing real estate is like coming up with an idea for what is my next commercial,
Well, that's
or what is the next ad.
Working, technically it's working on the business, not in it some days.
Of course.
Really, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're not showing houses or you're not listing a house, like you're working on
Yeah.
how to build your brand
Yeah.
and get people to know you. And I don't know, I think you've done a fine job in
I
that
appreciate you
aspect.
saying that,
And,
yeah.
and even with your golf, man, like
Yeah.
your videos, even the one that I got to
Yeah. The 30 for 30 actually is I've been really proud of like some small things that
Yeah.
I've done, and I thought that was like a really neat thing where I was like, you know what? I mean, was it undervaluing like what people are getting for sure? But I had an opportunity to just like build these little videos
Dude,
and just like throw them
Yeah,
out
but
there.
you know what? I think people appreciate like sometimes what you provided in the quick 30 minutes.
Yeah,
It was great.
thanks.
I don't think it was like if you're saying that you felt like the customer felt they
No,
were getting
no, I mean
value,
like
or-
to get a $30 golf lesson's pretty tough these days,
Oh,
right?
yeah, I
yeah.
get that.
But
Yeah.
but I mean, for me, I don't look at it like that. I mean, it was an opportunity. Like actually, it really came about because everything was shut down except for golf.
Yes.
So then I said to myself, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna build these like videos, and it was, the money was almost like secondary to like the fun that I had like creating the videos.
and they were awesome too.
Yeah.
Because you put like funny little memes on them, or
The
whatever.
gifs
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
that stuff, right? Or gifs or whatever
They were
whatever
hilarious.
they call them. Yeah.
They were hilarious, man.
I was really proud that like when you go back, if anybody wants to look, there's some videos where like they really it's really cool to see people get better in like 30 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I think they like it too.
Yeah.
But doing it for $30, what made it accessible for a lot of people too.
Yeah. So we're doing like a new thing actually, talking about like $30 lessons.
Yeah.
At the place that I coach at, Bridge Valley, we're doing it's swing tweaks. Yeah. So anyways, it's like $32 and you basically can go down to the range and video yourself, and then it uploads to the app, and then the app sends me a notification that you're looking for a tip. And so then like I can be like sitting
That's
right here
cool.
with you, and I'll be like, oh, like Levi needs help, and he's like, okay, here's a swing, and I'll be like, oh, Levi, you're moving your head again, or right, like, and so I thought that was pretty neat, like that somebody contacted me about that. And
That's pretty wild.
so again, talking about accessibility, like there's such a varying level of it.
Well, I mean, golf in general is not always the most accessible sport. It depends on where you play, but
Yeah, it's expensive.
ultimately, at the end of the day, if you're playing courses, you're going to spend some money.
Oh, I know.
That's the only thing that is unfortunate.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome if golf was a little bit more accessible, especially after COVID, because I think it like fueled interest.
Yeah.
Because it was really, like you said, it was like the only sport that technically was totally allowed to be played, and
Yeah.
and so there was a huge boom in activity in golf.
Yeah.
But then same thing, it was like, where did it go? What happened to the momentum?
I know, and that's where I heard a lot of golf pros were like talking about how well their courses were doing, or how well they were doing for their course. Now again, not taking away anything from them, but like there for sure was this sort of like shift where they said the only thing that you can do is golf.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
They like the government said you can only golf. And I thought that was like such an incredible thing. And I remember being on because I'm still a member of the PGA of Canada, and I remember being on these calls and like they were like trying to solve all these problems, and I was like, I was
It's
thinking in the
about
back
the
of my
rules?
I said, at least we have problems to solve.
Yeah.
Like, could you imagine being a gym?
Oh my
Right?
gosh.
Could you imagine being a gym owner, gym anything? I mean, this is just, it was, anyway, so back to the golf thing. It was kind of like, okay, whatever, like, leave the pin in, no big deal. Like, we play. And then when they shut down golf, it was like, I was like, oh my goodness. Because they did.
Yeah, they
I
did.
think it
Yeah, I
was like,
remember.
what, do you remember how long that was?
Like how long it was shut down?
Yeah.
I don't remember. I thought it was about 2 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I remember it didn't last long, but it was long enough that there was like another uproar of like, how dare you?
Yeah, because I remember working with the guys at Paradise, like
Yeah.
I went and did some video work with them.
Yeah.
And then we had like this whole thing like ready to go.
Yeah.
And then I think like the day before we were gonna launch, they're like, canceled, can't do it. Like, no way. And we ended up having to go back. I'm pretty sure it was a week and a half-ish later to update some of the video shots because they're like, yeah, we can't say this, we couldn't say that. So, and then finally golf was back on. But I was kind of in the same boat because I was like, oh, guys, like, and maybe I don't follow golf as obviously as much as you do and being involved as much as you do, but I was like, here's a sport that technically has been in somewhat of a decline in terms of
for sure
upcoming
users,
absolutely,
right? yeah
and like you've been handed like
the gift,
the golden egg, like here it is, like take advantage of it. And watching honestly just excitement around it, and I was like, okay, like they're gonna capitalize on this, and I'm sure some did, but at the same time I feel like a lot didn't. And I was kind of sad for that because I love golf. It's like my favorite sport, and yeah, it would have been interesting to see just some evolution out of it.
Yeah,
because it gave them the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, there hasn't been a boom in golf since the Tiger Woods thing.
Yeah.
That's like, that was the incredible part, to like sit back and actually one of the things that you couldn't get a tee time at any point, any day, at any golf course. I was like, what? If we go to any golf course in the area right now, whatever time it is, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, there's a tee time somewhere. There's a space, but it was like, what is going on? Like, you were getting these golf courses. I remember just calling in, and so that was kind of the incredible part. And you're right, like those who didn't capitalize on that. Well, and I know they exist. So.
Oh, sure. Some of the changes, though, for the first time ever, I had the chance last year.
Yeah.
Was it last year that we went? I think so. Anyway, last year, my wife and her parents and brother and his wife, and we took the kids and everybody, and we went out to Kimberley.
Yeah.
And the only place I've ever golfed out in that area was like St. Eugene.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciated, but I was always like, oh man, like I want to play these courses, and I'd always try and find guys to be like, hey, like let's go for like a weekend golf trip, and we'll do like two courses a day, like have a blast, have some beers, whatever. Anyway, I could never organize it, so when we went up for this family trip, my wife and I talked, and I'm like, look, I get it's a family trip, but I'm like, you gotta, like, I want to hit a course once a day when we're there.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, absolutely, whatever, right? Like you boys do your thing, but you gotta take me on at least one of them. I was like, no problem. And golfing like Shadow Mountain and golfing Wildstone, and what are the other ones, like? Is it Trickle Creek? No.
Trickle Creek, yeah. Trickle Creek, St. Eugene. The
St.
Wildstone's like kind of the newer one that everybody kind of. To be honest, I've never played out there.
So Shadow Mountain, like, you have to play Shadow Mountain.
Yeah, I have heard that. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Which one was your favorite?
That one, Shadow Mountain. Just because of the different elevations, like tee box elevations.
What tees did you play from, like, super far back?
We played from blues, but it was just like, there was holes where, I mean, I don't recall the exact measurements, obviously, but it literally felt like you were at least 100 feet up from the fairway.
Yeah.
Where I felt it was like the opposite, where Wildstone, I felt like it was more of an uphill course.
Yeah.
Like it felt like almost most of your tee shots were almost going, like hitting into a hill essentially, where Shadow Mountain was almost flatter, but a bunch of, like, you would never walk that course.
It's elevated, a lot of elevated shots.
Like, I'm not kidding that some of the tee boxes, even in your cart, it felt like it took you like 3 minutes to get to the next tee box.
I've seen some photos that kind of alluded to that.
And so just had a blast. But my takeaway from it was we went to those golf courses and the fees were super reasonable.
Yeah. And
the service that you got.
Yes, yeah.
I was like, what the heck is going on here? Because, you know, they were like, they had someone there cleaning your clubs, and they had, you know, when you got in the cart, there was already like 2 bottles of water there. Yeah. I can't remember which one that we went to, but like they gave us a yardage booklet.
Yeah.
And they each gave us like little towels or whatever to use. And I get it, it's like, whatever. But it was just like those little things that it was like, hey, you know what? Like, thanks for the bottle of water.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving me like a little towel. Like, and thanks for cleaning my clubs. Like,
for sure.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
The other part, you know, was even how they had their like snack shack set up.
Yeah.
And the way that they were set up in a lot of these courses was like, it was so accessible the way that they designed some of these courses that like, it was basically like every 4 holes you were
by
back passing.
Yeah.
So it was like central point
Yeah.
where it wasn't like, okay, you either get it on hole 9 or you get it when you're done your round, like outside of the cart person, right? And I was like, that's like
you're spending 4 hours on a golf
service,
course,
though.
right?
Like, I was like, this is such good service.
Oh, I know.
And then coming back, and again, it's not a diss or anything. I love the courses in Lethbridge area, but I was like, hey, like these prices are in some cases more.
Yeah.
And it felt like you were getting a little bit less.
Yeah.
Just from like the presentation perspective.
Do you think
does that make sense?
Do you think that they're focusing, like some of those courses are focusing more from like a tourism model?
Yeah, of course.
Like in the sense that customer service level is met with the idea that these are tourists, we need to wow them, and we want them sort of keep that experience.
I don't disagree with you on that, but then I look at it and go, well, why not wow everyone?
Well, of course. I totally agree with you. I think it's...
like if they can do it and they're charging less,
I know.
Again, I don't understand the taxes and all that stuff, whatever, right? But like, if they can do it, it's like, hey, why can't we do that? And with the beautiful golf courses that we do have in this area, it's like, this could be a tourist station. How many people do you know that come from Calgary to golf here before Calgary really gets ramped up?
We get loaded.
Tons.
We get loaded, We get loaded up with the golfers from Calgary.
So you're telling me that they're not like tourists, right? Essentially?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
I don't know if there's like, it's really something to break down because like, it's individual. Like that's the one thing with golf courses. They're all individually operated. They can be individually owned, and then they run their own systems. And it's like, and even then, it's one of those things where like, it creates that sort of level of leadership where it's like, what are they kind of getting? What are they getting passed down, and how are they working? Because I agree with that. Like I recently I was in Phoenix. And I went golfing there, and even being a pro, sometimes you get a discount. Sometimes you get some reciprocals and stuff like that. But in Phoenix, in February, that doesn't exist, right?
Okay.
And so you're paying
busy?
It's busy. It's like their go season because it's the temperature, right?
Cooler,
and,
a little bit cooler, but still nice.
It's golfable. Yeah. It's golfable. It's like 20 to 30, like max, right? And kind of like you pay like a substantial amount for golf. Let's say a couple $100, and you're like you look at that and you say, that's a big number. And these are for like average golf courses, right? Good golf courses, but average. And I think like, man, I'd much rather be in Lethbridge, because in Lethbridge you can buy a membership at any golf course in this area for like at most a couple $1,000. And let's say you play 10, 20 times a year, which isn't very much. You're getting value.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, and even in comparison to Calgary, like I talked to a guy recently, and actually I golfed with him. Well, I shouldn't say recently, because I golfed only today for the first time. But just before the end of last season, he was down, and he was kind of talking the same thing. He's like, so what are the rates here? What's going on? And when we talked, and he was like, really? Like, this is really accessible. But then I'm comparing going, but like you go to BC and that's accessible, and those golf courses, like their elevations and whatever, and so everyone's got their own like level of excitement. I get it, but Lethbridge is like, I think it's like an opportunity
for sure,
just like that kind of Kimberley area, where it could be like an absolute golf tourist attraction with like Pitcher Butte, you know, McGrath and Orlando and Henderson and Paradise. Like,
you have them all.
There's lots here.
You have them all. I mean, there's even, and then you go an hour in any direction, and you have more golf
and
courses,
even more,
right?
other beautiful golf courses. I can't even remember the name of one of my favorites now, but it's on your way to Calgary, but I think Vulcan. Speargrass.
Speargrass, yeah, Speargrass.
That's
okay, great golf course. Shout out to Speargrass. Crappy 3 holes. I had a funny story. So I played a pro tournament there. And I was telling you the story the other day. Oh man. So Speargrass, I love it. Like great. You get the first 16 holes, and then you get to the par 3. I think that's the 16th, and that's okay. And I think I was around par, let's call it, right? So and we have those online apps so you can tell where you are on the leaderboard as you're playing in the tournament.
Cool. And
it's kind of handy, but also you're staring at the leaderboard all the time. I would say I was like in the top 3, like a rare occasion that I end up in that kind of top 3.
You're kicking some butt.
I made a 9 on 17.
Oh no!
Yeah, because that hole is so hard, dude.
And it's so tight too.
I've never played a hole that's as hard as Speargrass number 17. So, that
golf course is like super cool.
I know, it's cool. The other one that I like, again, shout out to golf course, Crow's Nest Pass.
I haven't. I golfed it just when it got updated, but not before the clubhouse got finished.
It's 10 out of 10.
And so I'd like to go back again because when I did it, the greens were like, blocks.
Yeah.
They had just been put down essentially or whatever. Like, you couldn't stick a green. Like you hit the ball and it was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
But I've heard nothing but incredible things about that place.
Great course. The clubhouse is amazing. The views are spectacular. And again, an hour from Lethbridge.
Yep.
So
Cartston.
Yeah, Cartston again, another little secret one that's in there,
cool
right?
One, like,
I mean, McGrath, Cartston, all those ones. I love golf.
Well, you've been in it a long time. You're a golf pro too, right?
Wow. I love to play.
How long have you been a golf pro?
15 plus years.
Holy cow.
Yeah, 2005. 2005.
Did you ever like compete or?
I would say the best. Actually, I've got one win.
Okay.
One professional win. That came in 2011. And that was really cool, actually. It was a team event. And I made a putt on the last hole to win, and it was a cool feeling because I still have the trophy, and I get to say I have one professional win. And other than that, I mean, I would say that I'm competitive.
Yeah.
But the quality of golf is really good now.
Oh,
so good.
Most people that are just watching golf on TV, like they have no idea how hard.
Yeah.
It really.
Yeah.
Golf is hard.
It's super hard.
Like it really is hard.
Yeah.
I always related it to darts.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever played darts.
Of course.
But yeah, I related to darts because it's like you have a club now in your hand and you have a lot of area in terms of like distance to travel, but it's a game of millimeters still. Yeah. Like you miss by that much and your ball can do all kinds of stuff.
It's like there's a saying or something like a bad putt can still go in and a good putt can still miss. Yeah. Right? Like it's so ridiculous.
My favorite was last year. I've always wanted to play in club championships. Yeah. I'm not I'm not a great golfer. But I'm passionate
still
about
competitive.
It.
You're better than you give yourself credit for.
I know that I'm close.
Yeah. What is your handicap?
I'm an 11.
Okay, so that's really good.
Like it's close to where I want because it's just like those stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
That's all I'm missing. Like even going out this morning with my wife, like shot an 87, but I'm like, I had 4 doubles.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just have to avoid the doubles, and you're actually going to break 80 at some point here. But anyway, notwithstanding, I'm like, okay, I want to do club champs. Like I
Yeah.
want to feel the competitive. Like
Yeah.
there is no, and not that I play that way, but you know, play with lots of guys that you know they still play it competitively, but recreationally in the
Yeah.
sense where it's like, you know, that's a shitty lie. So I'm just gonna, I'll move it a little bit. Like I've played with lots of those guys,
Yeah.
and I'm not that way. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey. Like,
By the rules.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm counting my strokes.
Yeah.
Like the only person I'm cheating is myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's talk about that.
Yeah. Do you want to pass me that side? I can. Yeah, let's do that. Thank you.
Let's talk about that because that's some community.
Yeah,
minded
this
that
is
you really
this is my cool community. This is
Slow Your Roll.
yeah. So this is a company I started called Slow Your Roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
And really, it's a non-for-profit. Nothing.
I love it.
Like this. And
Take the whole. Block every camera.
yeah, it's like it.
No, but it's true.
Yeah, no, it's
You made it like what was the?
So
what was the
I mean, it
purpose
was the reality of it is it started with I was out walking with a friend on April the 13th of 2020,
Okay.
and I remember the date because it was pretty tragic. And I got home later that day after going for a walk, and Facebook was like ringing about like this accident, and I kind of like started looking it up, and this like it was basically like there's been somebody that's died in a pedestrian accident, right? And I was like, wow, like this was right at the peak of COVID when when like people were saying like go out, like do things with your family,
outside.
and it was like kind of like it was that like so we were everything was closed,
Yeah.
so we were being told to go outside and enjoy our time.
Yeah.
So that was like when we saw like a lot of people actually out walking
on their bikes,
Yeah,
walking,
yeah.
going to a park.
Yeah, and so it was just horrible, like the accident itself, and just the. So I was out driving the very next day,
Yeah.
and I drove past like a sign on a yard, and it was like said slow down. And it's actually another realtor that had that sign, which was kind of neat. So the sign said slow down. So it was smaller in nature, but again,
Yeah.
it did the trick.
Yeah.
And I said, man, like that's like I can work with this. Like I said, like I can do something there. So I went to like a local printing shop, and we kind of came up. I had this idea for a design, and so we kind of worked on it, and I met with a friend, and we ended up finishing up the design.
Yeah.
And then I went to the printing shop, and we printed the first few signs, and I shout out to Mike Harris, photographer, and he came with me around town, and I asked some of my friends to
Put up a sign.
feature. Well, actually, because at this point I really only had one sign.
Oh, okay.
So I started with one sign,
Yeah.
and took the photos.
Yeah.
So we did some photos, marketing,
Yeah,
right? And so then we started putting it online, and dude, it blew up really quick.
I
It blew up
remember
really
it was
quick.
like bang, all of a sudden
Yeah.
it was like, whoa.
Yeah, it blew up really quick, and I was like, it almost became like overwhelming, and it was about a week later after the accident, and God bless the family, like they're amazing people, and good friends of mine now, and they called me and said like, hey Chris, like how can we get involved, and like this is a family that we're talking that had just lost their child within a few days, and anyway, so that's when we added the green heart there, and that's for Charles. So originally the sign didn't have the
And
green
you have
heart.
it, is that the same?
Yeah, and then so I'm wearing like the sweater, and again, the gist of it was these sort of high visibility signs that you could get and put in your yard.
I like that.
The cool thing was people said they were working, like they could tell.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, they could tell it, and the first year we raised over $3,000 for the food bank.
That's awesome.
Just
dude.
on sign sales alone, and then the second year we created clothing.
Yeah.
And then just this past year, I got a call from the family, and they wanted to create a fund in their son's honor.
Oh.
And so what we did was we partnered with both the YMCA,
Okay.
Slow Your Roll, and the McIntyres, and we created a goal for $10,000.
All right.
Because that was the number we had to get to in order for a fund to pay out.
Right.
I believe it's the Community Foundation, Southern Alberta Community Foundation.
Okay.
So basically, they pay out a dividend each year that money goes to helping kids get memberships to the Y. So it's like it's just a function of giving. And yeah, we crushed it. We crushed our goal this year. Yeah, we crushed it. We're well over 10K.
So where did the slow your roll come from then? Like,
you know what? It's funny you say that, because like it really, Dr. Google's a crazy thing, right?
Yeah.
So kind of like Googling kid signs and sort of
Really?
looking, yeah. So you kind of like look, because kid signs aren't, they're not, it's not something new.
It just goes to show you
Yeah.
that my head, when you first brought him out,
Yeah.
is totally wrong on where I thought you came up with that.
Yeah.
I honestly thought it was golf related.
Yeah, no, it was
I
slow
was like, oh, like Chris and like slow your roll. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. Like, that's kind of
Yeah.
cool. Like with like putting or something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. Like,
no.
you know,
Not at
your
all.
swing techniques. And I was like, I love
Yeah.
that he's doing the kids
Yeah.
at play thing. And so now hearing that, that's like,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So so kind of like after like looking at a bunch of ideas, and then sort of, I mean, it's a function of, it's just like a function of you just write a bunch of stuff down, and then it kind of came out, and then a good friend of mine sort of said like, hey, you know what, add the hashtag, and so we kind of went with that and started the Facebook page. We have like, oh man, I got like NHLers, Vancouver,
Wow.
like across Canada.
Wow.
So we kind of, it got to a point where we kept it local in the sense, because it's really hard to ship like
Oh,
a
yeah,
sign
yeah.
like this. And so, yeah, I don't know. It came from a place of just, I was in a space where I was like, you know what, I went for a walk that day, sort of like a bit of a life-changing experience for a family. And
Oh,
absolutely.
I can't even
And for me, it was like, I had the time. To do something, and so like so we did, and yeah, I mean, to date we've raised probably combined with each year like over $20,000.
That's awesome.
Right? And again, this is not I mean, some people like, this is all charity. Like, this is nothing. There's never been anything that's come out of this other than just a function of giving. And you know what? That's kind of like how it's. I feel like everybody has something like that, right?
You're doing something for the community,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you did it out of just, well, obviously
Yeah.
a tragic situation, but
Yeah.
you're helping in the way that you can, and I
Yeah.
think that's all
Yeah.
anybody can do.
Yeah. So, I mean, if anybody's
Good for
watching
you.
and they want to
Yes.
know where to get a sign, you just go to Slow Your Roll on Facebook, and then just send us a message, and the signs are $50.
That's awesome.
So we sell them $50 a sign. They're really great. They're double-sided. Ooh, they're double-sided signs.
Love
They come with a yardstake, and again, the proceeds from all the sales go directly to the Charles McIntyre Fund. So
That's awesome, and that helps kids do
yeah, and it just
something
keeps
for play too.
Yeah, it just goes back. Oh, and you know what? Like, actually, my next thing.
Yeah.
We should actually do this. What I want to do is I want to put him. I got a call yesterday from a guy who lives on 13th Street, and he said like the average speed on 13th Street South is something like 60 to 110. 110. He said there's a stat. They did a traffic. Yeah, they did a traffic study. He said minimum one car per hour is going over 100 kilometers an hour on 13. So I want to do this thing where like he was like, we want to partner, and like I want to like kind of do a video study and say like, let's put up some signs, maybe get the LPS involved, and like say like, hey, like, can you radar these people and see like really the effect of it? Because we got some really nice messages from like parents are saying like, we really appreciate having the sign. It's really working for us. So, yeah.
That's actually that's wild.
He was reading these stats off to me, and I was floored. There hasn't been a photo radar on 13th Street South in 2 years. He was just like this. Again talking about like these traffic accidents and things like that. His dog died. His dog got ran over, right? And he actually worried about this before his dog had got hit. And he said to me, it was almost like one of those intuition moments that people have. And he said, like, Chris, as soon as my dog went outside, I knew he was going to die. Because he knew already the stats of how fast people drove down that road. Yeah. And he was like, and of course he came outside and his dog was dead. And it was like, wow. Yeah. So yeah, so we have some cool things going on with it. I mean, we're going to try to, our next move is to launch in other cities. The function of it, again, like, it's just a non-for-profit business. That's a push in the right direction for communities. So if anybody's watching this from other communities, reach out.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
we'd love to get involved because the signs really do work. They really do.
It makes sense though.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of like,
yeah.
It's almost like having like a when you see a photo radar box.
Yeah.
Just having that reminder.
For sure.
That's all it is.
It's almost like you like, I don't know how much the camera's gonna see this, but like really it's so big and bold. And you tell me that if you see like 3 or 4 signs in your neighborhood and it says kids are playing or kids at play, that you're not going to slow down.
You are. That's why I say it acts like a yield sign.
Yeah.
Automatically.
Exactly.
It's like, you just never know. Because trust me, I mean, even we live in like almost the end of a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
And even my wife and I were always the same. We're like, how is it people are driving so fast through here? Like, this is a residential area, and like you say, they're ripping at 65K.
I think some people we're just stuck in our own worlds. Like we really are, and it's not like a knock on anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Like life gets busy, we get going, and driving is that one place where we probably lend to not paying attention sometimes. Now it's not. It's just the function of like our society where we're like go.
Yeah.
And
you get comfortable, and all of a sudden you're just like, I just gotta get there.
So like I was like again like talking about like things like be proud about Lethbridge and really they got behind us the community, the why, the family, like they really did like and like Sawyer really his dad said it best. It was like it means more than just slowing down your car. It means like kind of slowing down your life because right.
That's why I say I love the slow your roll component because that's exactly. Like that resonates a lot with me. So
thanks. It's cool. It's probably one of the coolest things I've done.
Well, you have a pretty
pretty real estate, golf, signs.
Yeah.
I wonder if people like what is this guy? What does he do? And I feel like the answer is like I can get a lot done in a day.
Yeah.
And I just try to be really passionate and caring and competent at what I do, right? And that's
I love it.
That's the function of life. It's just like in having a kid soon, like I'm super pumped for that. Like my wife and I are expecting our kid. Like I love my wife to death, and like we're just like it's so it's like how do you just it's indescribable at this moment, right?
It really is. You know, I can relate to. That's why even when we drove up here and I was like enjoy it, like I really mean it. Having our last kid, and she's 4 years. She's about to turn 4 years old.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I can't even, like you said, like for any father out there that is, working hard, and this goes for mothers too. I don't mean it like that. I should rewind that. But I just mean like for any parent that's out there like working their butt off, and they're coming home and they're tired, and your kid immediately is like, daddy, mommy, whatever, like I want to play, I want to do this, I can't even begin to tell you how fast that happens, like how much you have to appreciate it, because like it's gonna be gone before you know it. Like that same kid doesn't mean that they're not gonna love you, but like that same kid's starting to find their own path. So like for that first like 5-ish years, like it is all about mom and dad, and so cherish it, man. Like cherish it. Like it doesn't matter how tired you are, like just take that 5 minutes to like get a tickle in, get a cuddle in, because it's the best feeling in the world. I know. Best feeling in the world.
I know, it's crazy. We're excited. I mean, my wife, she's amazing. Like it's gonna be such a journey. I mean, she's a full-time veterinarian, and so now she's gonna get obviously some time off, and the whole like I say indescribable because again these are such unknowns.
Oh yeah.
And that's really for me, it's like I have no idea other than I just like keep going with all these things and like work and I mean there's so much in life that you can do.
But this is that's why I say like this hashtag resonates, because whether it's with your kids, whether it's with your job, your family, golf, whatever you're passionate about, it's like just slow your roll. As fast as society is today, like everybody feels like we need to have like this like instant instant gratification.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll full circle this for you to kind of
Yeah.
end on it, but like it takes a long time to build something.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's a family, whether it's a business, like it's pretty rare for overnight success. It takes years to build something.
Yeah.
And whether it's sports,
Yeah.
right?
Of
Like
course.
golf.
Yeah,
Right?
golf.
Like you're not. I mean,
No.
I'm sure there's some exceptions.
There
obviously.
really isn't, though. There really isn't, but there is.
But overall, like, yeah, you know, somebody takes a lesson and then they go out on the course and they're like, oh, well, they messed with my swing and like, you know, now it doesn't feel the same. So, you know, they revert back to
they don't want to.
Like,
they don't want to do the hard stuff.
Just slow your roll.
Like,
who cares if this 18 is the worst 18 that you've ever played? Yeah. Just be consistent. Like just like play it out, and the minute that you start doing that, you'll notice it'll start to work. Yeah. And so, like the whole slow your roll, Gary Vee was just like being patient. Yeah. Even in my business, like I always try and tell staff, like, hey, like, just I use the term if you ever watch Bad Boys Woosah, like Woosah boys, like everybody just Woosah for a second. Like,
who's Fraba?
Nobody. Did somebody die? You know, that's kind of like my mom said, did somebody die? And they're like, well, no. Then, you know, who cares? Like there's if somebody's mad, we can always figure something out. Yep. If we mess something up, there's always a solution. Like it doesn't matter what's going on in life. There's always an answer. There's always a direction you can take. That might suck sometimes. Yeah. But you just gotta be patient and take each lesson for what it is. Yeah.
You're right. Like that's the gist of it, right? And the thing that slow your roll has done for me is realize that like it's creating an opportunity to do something good, but through a through a great tragedy, right? Through something that shouldn't have happened, and it really could have been avoided, and that's kind of one of the functions of it is to try to create avoiding another family to have to go through that. And so it's cool. It's just a cool thing. Plus in real estate, like I'm in neighborhoods all the time, so like I mean if that's like call a plug or a plug, but the truth is I'm driving around all the time doing showings, looking at homes, right? And so again with just everything, so I appreciate you saying that. Thanks. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, you should be proud of that.
Thank you.
Should be proud of that.
You.
Well, I'll get out of your hair, buddy.
All right. Okay.
Thanks for your time.
Lee. Thanks,
you need real estate, you need one of the signs, or you need a golf lesson, hit this guy up.
Homes, signs, golf.
I love it.
Thanks.